Hello, my name is Roy Carpenter, and today I will be showing my Unreal Engine 5 sound implementation demo. This project also functions as my capstone project for Texas State's sound recording technology program, marking it as the last project for my degree in sound recording technology. Now, if you've seen my Wise project, a lot of the sounds in this demo are some of the same sounds I used for the Wise project. There are some new sounds as well, but most of them I just wanted to see how well I could do with the implementation in Unreal. I would also like to preface this project by saying that I studied audio and not game design, so the level and the game are not super well fleshed out, but for the purposes of getting across the implementation for the sounds, it does its purpose. I'd also like to apologize for any kind of stutteriness that may occur in the demo. Unreal Engine 5 does not seem to run very well on my poor MacBook, but it does work for the purposes of showing off. So how I will show off things is I will introduce a concept or for something that I've implemented, and then I will kind of jump into the blueprints and stuff like that to show kind of a bit more in depth how it works and how I've implemented it. Alright, first thing we have is footsteps, and these are for a few different materials. Now this red texture here is supposed to be carpet, and this blue texture here is some water. Alright, now let's jump over to show you a bit more in depth how those work. Alright, so how the footsteps work is that this is a blueprint for a animation notification. So basically, on every animation that I have, there is a notification that gets sent to this blueprint every time kind of the foot touches the ground. So every time that happens, it kind of does a line trace from the player character down to the ground, and it checks for what surface is there and then plays the correct footstep. These are all the footsteps are done doing sound cues, and I realized that Unreal is kind of moving towards what they call meta sounds now, which are a bit more in depth and a bit more variable than I guess their old system of sound cues is, but I decided to keep these in just because they're some of the more complicated sound cues that I did for this project, and I wanted to show that I could do both the old style with the sound cues and the new style with the meta sounds. And I'll just quickly show you one of the sound cues for the footsteps. This is just we have 5 different footsteps, and it randomly plays whichever one with just a little bit of modulation for pitch and volume on there. So yeah, that's how the footsteps work. So now I have this little target here, and I will show off the kind of just very simple gun that I have. Just some gunshots. And then we also have a reload. Now, the gunshots and the reload are missing animations, of course, but it gets the point across. And this is very simple, just one gun, not a full weapon system, but I just wanted to do just a little bit of like weapon stuff to show. And up at the top right, you'll see the a very simple like ammo count that works with the reload as well. All right, so now we are in the kind of player character blueprint, and this is where uh, most of the kind of mechanics for stuff that I've implemented are, including the shoot and the reload. Um, so it's just kind of with the left click. Most of this code in here is just for uh, counting the bullets for the reload system. But the shooting itself is done by a blind trace, and we have this spawns the bullet hole decals and then plays the sound. And then the reload is down here. Most of this is really just math for the reload, but here's the spawn sound when you press R to reload as well. So that's how the reload works. Okay, so another sound that I have is the spell sound. If you saw my Wise project, you'd notice that from there. So this was actually one of the more complicated parts of this project that I could never quite get working how I wanted it to, but for the purposes of this demo, it works completely fine. So if you press Q to cast a spell, it'll send out, and then when you release Q, it will kind of destroy the spell, or like maybe a kind of explosion or something. And of course, if this were a fully fledged game, there'd be more, kind of animations and things like that for the spell. But for our purposes here, it works fine. All right, and let me show you kind of how that works. All right, so now we are in the player blueprint again, and this is basically showing how the spell works. So when you press and hold Q, it will play the initial cast sound, and then it will spawn the kind of spell projectile after a delay. And then when you release Q, it will kind of blow up that projectile. And all of these execute trigger parameters here are doing the triggers for the meta sound, which I will show you now. The spell sound was kind of the first thing that I did with the meta sounds, and they work kind of more off of triggers than just kind of playing the sound. So the initial cast is up here, which is triggered pretty simply. This array right here kind of controls. There's a couple different cast sounds that can play, and it'll play from there. And then all of this complicated stuff right here is getting so there's 3 different like loop sounds for the travel, and getting them to loop slightly on top of each other while also playing them randomly, and getting that all to kind of work together well is a bit complicated in a meta sound. So we have here a trigger repeat, which is different from just checking the loop box in the wave player. And then these trigger counters and comparisons and randomization just get it to randomly play one of the loop sounds and loop it slightly on top of the last loop sound that played. And then the impact noise down here is a bit more simple. It just stops any of the loop sounds that might be playing and plays the impact sound. There is a bit of kind of spatialization that I made myself. So this is this variable kind of takes from the player blueprint, and we'll return it to this, and this controls the volume of the impact and the travel loop, and also controls a low pass filter that's on it as well. So yeah, that's a bit of spatialization I did, and that's how a bit more on how the spell sound works. So the next thing I would like to show off is a kind of grappling hook. This was also one of the sounds that I had in my Wise project as well, so I'll show that now. And this also it has a bit of a range on it, and if you don't hit anything with it, it will do this. Alright, so I'll jump in to show you a bit more on how that works. Alright, so here we are in the player blueprint again, on the grapple section. So the grapple key is F, and when it's pressed, basically, in short, how it works is kind of a line trace, and it will kind of it'll set the movement mode, and it'll set the visibility of the cable, and then it will kind of add the force to move you towards the where you hit with the grapple hook. And then when it is released, it'll kind of just reset the variables for if it's grappling or not, and change the movement mode back, and the visibility, and of course the execute trigger parameters are in here for doing all of the meta sound stuff. Grapple is also using a meta sound, a bit less complicated than the spell. It's just kind of the shoot triggers the initial sounds, and then if you actually hit something, it'll play more of the attach and start the loops over here for the kind of reeling in noise and wind noise. And then when it's released, it triggers this detach right here, and it'll play the detach sound. One thing I wanted to do was kind of fade the wind effect out a bit after the detach noise is played, and that's what this envelope right here does. It kind of does a bit with the level of the wind, and all of these over here are kind of just my version of doing like a little mixer for the levels for all the sounds. So yeah, that's in short how the grapple hook works. Alright, so the next thing we have is a zipline. This works by coming over to the start of the zipline here and pressing E. Pretty simple zipline, and let me show you how it works. The BP zipline that this references is the rope that's in the world. So when you press the E key, this sphere trace is kind of just detecting if you're at the start of the zipline, and a lot of this down here is playing the initial sound, setting the movement mode, and then moving you up to the zipline. Happens right here, and then right here is where the actual movement of the zipline goes, and then after that it will do the cancel event where it plays the detach noise and sets the movement back to just walking on the ground. Zipline is another of the meta sounds that I have, so it's pretty simple. It only has a couple triggers. We have the start and the end, and then the detach noise is separated just because I wanted to play it at a bit of a different point than the other ending sounds. So these all go to different wave players, and some of these are the initial sound with a loop on it, and this one right here for kind of the rope noise is an initial sound, a loop sound, and then it has an ending sound as well. And then on the loop section of this rope, I had to do the looping a little differently for to just get a bit of random pitch shift in there, which is kind of done down here, where it'll repeat really fast and it will reset a random just number generator basically to change the pitch just slightly of that looping rope kind of noise. We again have the ADSR envelope for the wind noise right here, just to fade that out a little bit better than just stopping it. And we have the whole mixer here again for all the sounds and levels again. So yeah, that's how the zipline sound works. Alright, so the next thing I wanted to show was this house right here. And this house will do a couple different things. Number one, it is a reverb zone, so it will add reverb to the footsteps and like the shooting and the reload. And then it will also change, if you've noticed, the ambience, kind of the outside wind and bird noise. It'll change that into more of a AC kind of inside ambience, and it'll smoothly transition between both of those things. Alright, let me show you how that works. Okay, so the main way that the reverb and the ambience switching works is with this audio volume, which is this orange box that takes up all of the house right here. And basically any sound that has effect sends enabled will send to this reverb and apply the reverb to that. And then for the ambience, within that audio volume, there is an interior ambience object placed. And then outside of it, there is an exterior object, or exterior ambience object done. So that will tell Unreal that inside this audio volume is the interior, and to play the interior ambience. And then outside of it is the exterior, and to play the exterior ambience. So that's how both of those work. Alright, so the next thing I have is a couple of objects. Now this red cone right here represents a campfire, and this white box down there represents like a kind of broken speaker or something. So this campfire has a kind of sphere radius, so when I get closer to it, it'll be louder, and when I move away from it, it'll be quieter. Now this kind of broken speaker or radio has a cone radius, so right in front of it, it will be the loudest, and as I get closer, it'll get louder. And then as I move away from it, either off axis from right in front of it, it will get quieter as well. Alright, and now I'll jump in to show you how these work. Alright, so here we have the campfire, and it is just a cone object that we have in the game world with a audio component attached to it, and that is playing a just extremely simple meta sound for the campfire loop. And so we have attenuation settings, which are found in our audio folder, and the attenuation settings have kind of the fall off type and then the shape of the attenuation along with the radius, which the radius is these circles that are around. And the reason these radiuses are so big is that I found that it falls off really kind of around this distance here. So just to get the realistic sound that I wanted, the radiuses had to be that large. But this is where the spatialization option is as well. And that's how the object for the campfire works. Let me show quickly the radio as well. As you can see, we have a different shape for the object. This one's more of a cone with the 100% radius as a smaller cone, and then the fall off radius is this kind of bigger cone here. And that's how both of those objects work. Alright, that's about it that I have for this project. If you would like to download this and play it for yourself, you can contact me at my contact info that's found on the YouTube channel, and I can see about getting over a demo to you. But yeah, thank you very much for watching.